I wonder if the play is just a farm down. I think we're going to farm down. This is kind of a risky play. Please don't debuff me. Please don't debuff me. Okay. Oh, no. Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well. Before I dive into my Johto Cup team, I just want to let you all know I do have a sponsored giveaway from Niantic for the Pokemon Go Tour Johto event. I have a total of 10 tickets for the event to give away, so stick around to the end of the video to figure out how to be a part of it and get yourself a ticket for the event this weekend. For my Johto Cup team, I've always wanted to use Raikou in GBL, but it's always kind of landed a little bit short. But looking at the meta for this cup, it ended up looking really good, so I decided to give it a try. And I decided to make an ABB team with it, running Piloswine the lead with Raikou as the safe swap and Lantern in the back. Raikou is usually the safe swap for this team. If you do not have one, you could also run Ampharos with Focus Blast. Some of my patrons have been using that to pretty solid success. You could definitely run Raikou as a Shadow, especially as a safe swap, it could hit a lot harder. But I definitely prefer Piloswine to be a non-Shadow, just because a lot of times it's doing a lot of the bulk of the work, especially if you're running into some tough team comps in the backline, so it kind of has to take out one or two Pokemon. Our first battle is going to showcase how Piloswine just puts in a ton of work in really bad matchups against tough team comps. Before we get into the battles, a big shout out to all my patrons who've been supporting my content creation. If you would also like to have early access to some of my strategies and lineups, as well as my various guides on how to use these teams and additional behind the scenes footage, feel free to sign up in the Patreon link down below. Like I mentioned, this is a really tough matchup. I found that most Magcargo lead teams are really hard for my backline just because of the counters and the nature of it. So cranberry. So yeah, as you can see, this Meganium is not great for my Raikou, but I am going to shield because Magcargo is going to take a little bit longer to get to their charge move, so I figure I might as well shield now rather than die with shields later. I figure I could force a shield from the Meganium. There's no way I really win this matchup and win switch, so I just want to wear it down enough so that I can farm it down with Piloswine. Unfortunately, they did charge up quite a bit of energy, so good on my opponent's end there. So I'm down shields and don't have switch advantage, so not a great spot to be in. And my cat is about to run off of me. All right. So I do go straight for the Hydro Pump. My opponent does recognize that the Quagsire does not get KO'd by it, so there's no need to shield. And they do need to shield a potential Bulldoze. So at this point, I am just committed to a farm down. Here's the thing with Piloswine. It's got really interesting typing. It doesn't resist much, but it does take neutral from a lot more things than you would think. So Earthquake and Stone Edge are both neutral. And able to land this Bulldoze with a bait there. I had to go for a massive farm down the Quagsire, and even though we didn't have switch advantage throughout the entire matchup, you can still make it work with some energy advantage. But yeah, Shadow Piloswine would not be able to farm down that Quagsire and tank the Earthquake, so that's the biggest reason I don't run Shadow Piloswine. A few of my patrons did mention that they found success with Shadow Piloswine, so it's still an option, just not my preferred go-to. All right, so against Quagsire lead, Quagsire is very strong against this backline, resisting all that electric damage, so I am going to just 2 shield and farm down from here. I could survive another Stone Edge even if they got to one, and I am going to throw this Bulldoze at this Magcargo and then come in with my Raikou here. So they're probably going to hit me with an Overheat and dip out. That's not great for me because our switch timers are misaligned a bit, so my Lantern's going to be locked into something that's not going to be good for it in all likelihood. So my opponent does farm up a little extra here, and it is a Jumpluff. So they want to leave with some energy, which is a smart play by them, and this Jumpluff can easily beat my Lantern. Despite me doing neutral, the super effective energy ball just does a lot. But my switch timer's back up, so at this point, I'm pivoting out, taking out this Jumpluff. If you're going to throw something at me, I'm just hoping to get to a Bulldoze, and my opponent actually decides to throw here, which is good on them to do it, but because they can't stack 2 Stone Edges. They can't stack any 2 moves, even if they're running Rock Tomb, and I'm able to Spark down afterward. So despite a lot of really bad matchups, like this one, this team still has some play, for sure. Politoed, a lot of them like to throw a move before dipping. It's never really worth shielding, in my opinion, just because if they have something like a Steelix in the back, you just kind of waste your shield for nothing, but a lot of times, too, their backline Mon can still beat you, and you can't win switch if you're chipped. So I'm just going to let that foul play go. I could tank at least 2 foul plays here, so I'm going to just farm up a little extra energy so I have something to throw at the Politoed. at this point, I really recognize that I'm never going to win switch advantage at this point. So I just need to kind of, do a lot of chip and dip action, drop a move, swap out, hopefully drop another move to take out the Politoed. So I'm going to throw Avalanche here. I don't actually have a Bulldoze ready, but I'm just counting on my opponent not to know all my counts there because I don't really want them to get too much mud shot built off of my Piloswine there. And they actually come in with Ampharos. I am going for the first bait there, and they do shield, which worked out really well because if they don't shield there, I'm kind of in a tough spot. I'm going to just double shield this. It is possible they have Earthquake, but I'm just going to gamble at this point because, one, they'd be really weak to Grass without Earthquake, without Blizzard on this Politoed, but the other thing is I don't want to have to shield Weather Balls later if I tank that Thunder Punch. So, looks like my opponent is not running Earthquake, and yeah, able to take it out. All right, so Meganium is a really interesting one. Just like Venusaur, the speed Meganium gets to Frenzy Plant with Vine Whips, and the speed Piloswine gets to Avalanche with Powder Stones is the same. So, as long as no one sneaks a move through or denies a move or etc., and you're CMPing every time, Piloswine's going to win CMP and win that matchup, but you just have to shield. You get to move at the same time. My opponent does a great catch here, recognizing that I probably get to move, so I need to build back up to that Avalanche just so that I have it for the Meganium in the back end. So, I do come in with my Raikou here, and let's see if we can take it out. They choose not to shield, but unfortunately they had quite a bit of energy built up. That was kind of the downfall of me building up to Avalanche here. So I'm going to farm up some extra energy and hope that I could still have some play in this back end. And it turns out they come in with Quagsire. So this Lantern's in a really bad spot. I have a low health Piloswine. I'm going to farm up a little extra. You really want to just maximize energy here because I know I need some energy for this Meganium. And they actually don't throw their move right away. I think they had it. They just overfarmed, which is perfect for me because I grabbed their last shield here. And then now I'm going to get hit with 2 Frenzy Plants. I live one, so I'm going to shield the first one and tank the second one, hoping to get to Thunderbolt in time. Playing around with the energy and just enough to take out this Meganium. So, despite really bad matchups in some of these back-end matchups, you can still make a lot out of just energy generation on this Piloswine especially. Not really any Pokemon balls off Piloswine's entire moveset besides Surskit, I think, in the game. And no one's running a Surskit. I actually don't even know if it's eligible in this meta, but it's a baby Pokemon. So my opponent here, they do come in with Jumpluff in the lead, but they say swap their Quagsire. Something I notice a lot with Jumpluff leads is they have Quagsire in the back, so it's kind of tough for your team. So you don't really swap out here. I'm just going to double shield. Unfortunately, I did get baited with a Sludge Bomb, which is definitely kind of a shocker, but it is what it is. Hoping to get a shield back here, and I do, and I'm hoping to, catch a move here or something. They probably throw a Hydro Pump here at me. They actually threw Thunderbolt. I'm not really sure why. Maybe they didn't want to burn all their energy. Yeah. So I'm going to hopefully take out this Jumpluff or... I take out the Jumpluff, which is actually really big for me. They just did not want it on the Lantern, I guess. Or the Piloswine. So, able to grab this last shield here. This is a really good spot for me. They have to go Hydro Pump, take me out. And then a full health Lantern versus a half health Lantern. It's definitely going to go to a Lantern there. And they're probably going to see it once they see this. And yeah, that's exactly what to do. Alright. Ariados. Kind of annoying for this team because it's good against everything. You do resist the Poison Stings, but the Poison Stings don't really do much damage anyway. You're really relying on your charge moves. And those lunges debuffing and hitting quite hard for neutral is not great. So every Ariados will shield this. So I'm going to swap, and they swap as well. They actually look like they swapped beforehand because they actually caught the move on their Lantern. It was just a visual glitch. So they do go straight for a Thunderbolt, which I chose not to shield. I do want to take out this Lantern though. And they shield once, and I shield again. I probably should just thrown a little bit earlier because I definitely had more than 2 Wild Chargers built. I just chose to farm up to 100 energy. So unfortunately, I did have to burn a shield there, and it's actually a Steelix here. So this is good for me in a sense because I definitely don't want the Steelix on my Lantern. But I also decided to come in Lantern here. My thought process is they can't go straight Crunch against my Lantern unless they want to bait me. So they had to burn all their energy first. And then I'm going to come in with my Piloswine. I don't know if it's the best play or not, but it's a play I came up with at the time. I do land an Avalanche here before they get a move off, which is pretty huge. And unfortunately, they do get a move off here before I can get to it. But my opponent actually made a really smart play here. And so props to them. They undercharge here, recognize that they need to build up to an Earthquake, knowing that they'll survive an Avalanche, probably survive Bulldoze too. So really smart play, because now I cannot get to a Thunderbolt, I cannot get to a Hydro Pump because that undercharged. So definitely had a win con there for me in a couple different aspects. Looking back, I don't know, there's definitely a lot of misplays on my end, but also really great plays by my opponent there for sure. All right, Porygon 2, definitely an interesting Pokemon. You could tank the Tri-Attacks pretty well, so I like to throw a move, then swap. Kind of like the Ariados matchup, you want to clear the debuffs, you could tank their move, and now they burn a shield at the same time. This Wild Charge is still going to hit really hard from Raikou because it's so attack weighted, so I'm still forcing my opponent to double shield here. That's absolutely huge. I'm going to shield here because I got to my last Wild Charge, so I figured why not take out this Porygon. And then I didn't want to show my third if I didn't have to. And they actually come in with their Lantern here. So this is not great, which means that they're probably weak to Electric in the back. So I quickly pivot over to my Pilo here. And it actually is an Azu. I just didn't want them to farm down my Raikou and have a bunch of energy stored. But a great catch by them as well. And now they have their Azu here. Able to do a lot of damage though. I landed 3 moves, 2 Avalanches and 1 Bulldoze on this Azu. Definitely a good spot for me to be in. And they're going to throw a blind Ice Beam, which is really nice. It's resisted. I'm going to let this go. Even if it's a play rough, it's fine. And it is a play rough. So they do have another play rough. I am going to shield this Thunderbolt. Go for my own. And I should be able to reach it before they do. And that is GG's. Yeah, so able to burn both their shields on the Porygon, which was absolutely huge for me, I think. All right. Skarmory. The whole backline is really good against Skarmory. The front line is not terrible. Pilo is fairly neutral. But I want to build up some energy first and then swap out. Maybe catch a move, but they didn't throw. They said just into swap. This is fine, actually. Raikou could win Switch versus Umbreon. You just have to make sure you don't throw your Wild Charge before they throw their first foul play. And if they no-shield the second Wild Charge, then that's when you know that, yeah, you're in a good spot. And I had energy left on my Piloswine, so even if they did shield it, they wouldn't really be able to farm much off of it. So, able to win Switch here. Look at my battery life. It was quite low at this point. I don't know what I was thinking, but it is what it is. And able to grab a shield from the Skarmory. That's huge because Lantern walls off all of these move sets. So, they're going to go for Sky Attack. That's fine. And then they come in with a Politoed here. And go straight for the Thunderbolts. I kind of am okay no shielding here, even if it's an Earthquake, because I already grabbed the shield. A Bulldoze should be able to do quite a bit of damage. But they're throwing Weather Balls, so they either only have Blizzard, or at this point they're just committed to Weather Balls because their first bait did not work. At this point, though, I'm going to shield because I could just finally take out this Politoed. Could finish it off here, and then I still have entry on my Piloswine to take out the Skarmory. Yeah, Skarmory, really highly rated Pokemon in Johto Cup, but fortunately for this team, you got a lot of options to handle it. 2 backline Mons, really good. Frontline Mon, still fairly solid. Sudowoodo, this is a tough one. Yeah, we're going to see what we can do here. I'm going to throw my Wild Charge right away. I kind of just want to grab a shield here. I don't really care if I get KO'd here. Yeah, that's going to... Oh, they actually don't KO me, which is actually worse because they farm a little extra. I was hoping that would just one-shot me. I know I could take a lunge, so I'm just hoping for the shield advantage Lantern to come in handy here. And we do get to the Avalanche before they get to the next move. I doubt they double shield. If they do, that's good for me either way. And they do come in with their Sudowoodo, and then now they actually come in with a Galarian Slowking. It's a very interesting Pokemon for sure. They do have nukes though, so I'm going to shield. And I'm going to go straight for the Hydro Pump. Why not? If I grab their shield, great. If I don't, I almost KO it, and that's a really good spot for me to be in. And at this point, I'm thinking they had a shield, right? And they no shield. Really gutsy no shield, but honestly, it's a really great play by them because their win con is if I bait there and don't get a shield from them. So, fortunately for me, we CMP here. That's absolutely huge. If we didn't CMP and they counter me down, I think I straight loses. but because we CMP there, that ended up being really good for me, and then able to still sneak by with a win despite a misplace. Shadow Raikou. Let's get into some Shadow Pokemon. Good to see another Raikou user as well. This person is safe swapping their Skarmory, which is probably not the best safe swap in my opinion in this meta, because how many electrics there are. Skarmory's just, I don't know. It's definitely not good against this team, I will say. Maybe against a team without a good check, that could be fine. But maybe they're weak to electric in the back, so they're trying to lure it out. So it could be a really solid strategy here. I know that these are resisted, but Shadow Raikou is going to take the Thunderbolts much more harshly. And they actually have a Steelix in the back. So kind of more of an ABC team in some ways. But now that they locked in their Steelix, I know that I just need my Piloswine on this thing, because this is my best check to grounds. It is able to put in a ton of work against the Steelix. At this point, I don't even need a shield, because my Raikou could finish it off with a shield advantage, so I'm going to just no shield this. I got a few more Powder Snows off. Volt Switch, even though super resisted, is going to be able to farm this down with enough time. I still have 2 shields, so I should be okay. And they do come in with their Raikou to... It doesn't matter what this is. It ends up being Shadow Ball. I can farm down afterward. And then I go straight for the Wild Charge. I can honestly go for Shadow Ball here too. Doesn't really matter at this health range. But yeah, Shadow Raikou, very solid. One of the few things that Piloswine is actually really dominant against. And we're going to Shadow Entei. So only saw one of these, but I figure it's quite spicy, so why not? They do catch a Wild Charge here, which is actually pretty rough for me, unfortunately. At this point, I'm just committed to throwing Wild Charges, because I don't know when they're going to throw their move. And not able to take it out. But, you know, honestly... 2 resisted Wild Charges against a Quagsire, that's still doing quite a bit of damage. So I shield the first Stone Edge. I know I lived the second one. They actually don't get to the second one, so that's kind of big, but I don't have switch advantage still. And they have a Meganium in the back. So this is pretty disastrous in terms of team comps for sure. But honestly, catching that Wild Charge was also really nice for them. But yeah, hey, you know, you gotta give people respect for running a Shadow Entei in any meta, and this was a fun one to run into. Yeah, I don't know what I'm thinking here. I guess maybe I'm thinking I get to move, but yeah, no, it's not even close. All right, Shadow T-Tar. Speaking of shadows, another big Shadow Pokemon. Here's the thing with Piloswine, it doesn't resist a lot, but it also takes neutral from a lot of things that you wouldn't expect, like Rock, because of that ground typing. It is going to cancel out the weakness that Ice has, which is kind of nice. So you actually can do okay. And then I come in here, they come in with a Quillfish for my Raikou, which is interesting. Yeah, able to farm it down. Obviously, the Aqua Tail still hurt quite a bit, but they do shield, and now I can land the back-to-back Wild Charge that should KO the T-Tar, and they got a Skarmory in the back. Skarmory is really great in this meta, but this team is a Skarmory killer for sure. Alright, so if you made it to the end of this video, like I mentioned, there is a giveaway sponsored by Niantic. So to earn a ticket to the Pokemon Go Tour Johto event, here's what you have to do. My favorite Johto Pokemon from back in the day is Ampharos. It was just one of my favorite Pokemon to use when I played Pokemon Silver on the Game Boy Color. So to participate in this contest, comment down below your Pokemon Go in-game trainer name, and then you have to guess the CP of my oldest Ampharos I have on my account. First and foremost, you can only guess once. If you guess within 5 CP points of the actual CP, or exactly the CP, you will instantly win one of the tickets as long as there are still any remaining. And if within 24 hours of me releasing the video there are still tickets remaining, then I'll pick the remaining winners based on who got the closest to the CP. If there are any ties in any way, shape, or form, I will go off of who has commented first. Drop your guesses down below. Obviously, if you already have a ticket for the Pokemon Go Tour Johto event, there's really not any point in you participating because only one ticket works. But if you're looking to play the event this weekend, definitely comment down below to participate in this contest. Hope you all enjoyed the video. Hope you all enjoyed the team. Best of luck if you decide to use the team as well. It was a lot of fun for me. And shout out to Niantic for sponsoring this giveaway. And I hope everyone has a great Johto event this weekend. If you like this video, feel free to give it a like and share. Subscribe for future content. Hit that notification bell to get alerted right when I post a new video. And I'll see you all next time. Bye.